Everybody, it's John Wolpert and here with the Baseline crew. We are having our October General Assembly meeting. I'm going to turn it over to Sonal Patel, who is not new anymore, the Baseline operations coordinator and all around glue in the system. And today we will just be going over General Assembly content. If there's quite a few people online, but the streaming does not show anybody who doesn't have camera on. So if you hear disembodied voices, that's because they're practicing their right of keeping their video off. So anybody on YouTube, bear that in mind. And Sonal, I think with that, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. Welcome to another General Assembly meeting that we have broadcasted to YouTube for visibility to everybody about updates from different teams. So we have a few of our team leads and community members here today to provide some updates. So I will start queuing them up. And for anybody speaking, please introduce yourself and optionally your company in case we have some new listeners out there today. So to start us off, actually, we'll be talking about our TSC elections. So first, I have some TSC candidates who are on the call today who were unable to introduce themselves last week, who are going to provide some brief introductions on themselves. And then I'll hand it over to Claudia to give us the official details for the elections that are starting as of right now, I believe. So she'll give us the guidelines for those who are eligible voters. But first and foremost, we will have our introductions. So first, Melanie, I see you here, and you're a candidate for TSC. And if you wanted to just give us your name, optionally your company, how you contributed to Baseline so far, and your vision or goals if you are part of the TSC moving forward, that would be great.
Absolutely. My name is Melanie Marcelier. You can probably hear a French accent and a French last name. I work at Splunk, which is a data to everything company. So everything data, specializing in metric, logs, traces to understand everything, including ledger analytics and what's happening on the blockchain. So to answer your first question, what I've done for Baseline, well, with Splunk, we've contributed to BRI1, which is an implementation of the Baseline protocol. And in the ops folder, you can spin up Splunk and have a bit of insight into your ledger analytics. To be fair, it hasn't been updated in a little while. And I think BRI1 probably needs a bit of love too, just generally speaking, not only the Splunk functionality. So that's something that is on the map for me. And what interests me in joining the TSC, I think that with Splunk and myself have already contributed to an open source tool to have ledger visibility and visibility into node metrics called eFlogger. And I think that it's very aligned to push forward kind of the quality of Baseline as a protocol for enterprise use cases to provide enterprise grade visibility into what is going on chain, but also the stack that is connected to the chain. And to do that in an open source manner is something that we've already committed to. So happy to push that further. So that's me.
Thank you. And Connor, I know you're one of the nominees, if you'd like to go next.
Sure thing. Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm Connor Svensson. I'm the founder and CEO of Web3 Labs. Web3 Labs is a blockchain technology company. We work with protocols as well as large corporates on strategic blockchain initiatives. So we do things like can be ecosystem development and open source, as well as working on other areas like cross-chain and interop. I've been very involved in the Ethereum community going back a number of years. I wrote a library called Web3J, which is the JVM integration library for Ethereum. My roots for writing that in the first instance were very much so always about having come from that world of enterprise development. The JVM in my mind was always quite pivotal for why, as a way of ensuring that Ethereum was well catered for, because it runs so much of modern enterprise. You've got sort of 20 years worth of systems and applications that have been built on that platform. So I still believe it's a very important system platform to support. Specifically, though, with the baseline protocol, what has always attracted me so much to it is that it's enterprise focused. It's how you kind of overcome that obstacle of enterprises going to creating their own private permission chains, when in fact it provides an opportunity for them to go to public ledger networks. And so what my involvement within the baseline protocol TSC thus far has really been contributing to the different discussions where I can around perspectives on open source, as well as when people have been submitting grant applications, scrutinizing them and so on. Long term, in terms of, regardless of what happens, I'm still a big proponent of the baseline protocol. I've actually got a book coming out later this year where I talk to it as well, being like a good place for organizations to get behind it. But the way I see it is it's a key technology to help converge enterprises onto public blockchains, and so I want to continue to support that. Exactly how I do that, if I'm re-elected to the TSC for the next year, it's, in my mind, it's more about contributing where there's opportunities to help out, be it reviewing some of the specifications that have been done, or just continuing to contribute to the discussions to ensure that everything's being done in a way that I believe makes sense and is best for the overall community and project.
Did I hear free books for votes? Is that what I heard? No, I'm kidding.
I'll definitely send out some free books anyway, because so that book's going to drop in a month or two, this Blockchain Innovators Handbook. So again, I think the baseline's kind of got a good play into that side of things too. So I want to, it's right to talk about it there.
Awesome, thank you. And is there anybody else in the call who didn't get a chance to introduce himself last week who is running for TSC?
Yes, I'm also here. Mehran.
Hello.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Mehran. I'm working as software architect in SAP blockchain team for almost 5 years. I'm with baseline team since early this year, and I try to attend all the standard review meetings at least. And usually I'm the one who asks crazy questions. I think we all agree that increasing transparency is one of the most important features of any blockchain-based solution. And on the other hand, I've also learned that importance of privacy for both private persons and entities, legal entities, is a really important aspect that we should keep in mind. So personally, I'm interested in bridging this gap where it fixes this kind of missing piece in the puzzle. So for me, baseline is the first attempt in this scale that tries to create a balance between transparency and privacy, and that's what excites me. And by nominating myself, I want to show my commitment to this idea. I also see in my role understanding and mapping between technical specifications and, of course, business processes, which I believe it's very important for adoption of technology. That's why I ask a lot of questions. So no matter what the result will be, I'm here to contribute and help the baseline community and protocol to grow. Thank you, and enjoy baseline.
Thank you. And any final nominees or candidates in the call? All right, I think we're good. So with that, I will hand it over to Claudia and Chet from Oasis to give us some more information about how the election process will work.
Well,
Hi, everyone.
I'm going to hand that off to you.
Okay. All right. I'm just in the process of putting the final touches to the 2 emails that will go out to all of the eligible voters. Eligible voters are those who made a contribution to the master branches for baseline in the last 6 months. I think we have 39 eligible voters right now. They will all get one email with a call to vote, which will list statements for most of the candidates that they have sent in prior to the election, and an explanation of how to vote. The second email will go to all of the eligible voters as well with a ballot. And in the email, you will understand how to vote, which is basically putting an X. You have next to the candidate names, you have 11, sorry, you have 11 possible votes because there's a maximum number of 11 people on the technical steering committee. We have 19 candidates, so we should be able to fill those votes. The election will remain open until Tuesday, the 26th of October. So that is in 13 days. So it's 2 weeks. We will then tally the results and report them on the next baseline show when we'll have the new TSC. And yeah, I think that's it basically. So the emails will go out in the next couple of minutes. That's it for me for now, unless there are any questions.
Just one other quick note. Please vote by forwarding the ballot email to Claudia and copy me. We're trying to keep the votes themselves confidential and not broadcast them back out. So please make sure you forward the ballot to Claudia and select up to 11 choices off of the list. That's the maximum number of TSC seats that'll be open. So please vote for up to 11.
Chet, Claudia, is there one question, I guess is a good one for me to ask is, how does the chair get selected in the process?
Well, when you reconvene the TSC, then you'll select the chair at that point.
Oh, the TSC itself will select a chair. Okay,
Right.
rather than the voters.
Right.
I think last year we did it, the voters selected, but that's fine. That's good. Parliamentary procedure. Sounds good.
All right. There aren't any other questions. If you're an eligible voter, just keep an eye out for that email. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Claudia or Chet on the Baseline Slack. And now we will move forward to standards. Andreas, if you would like to provide an update on the standards work.
Sure. Really briefly, to recap, so we are done with the draft. So 2 thumbs up for everyone who has contributed and those who've cheered on from the sidelines. Was a bit of work. The technical steering committee approved the draft version with unanimous consent on September 30th, and it is now sitting with the project governing board, who is going to discuss it. John, remind me, next week or the week after? I forgot what the exact date is.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So that is the next step in the process to making it a full project standard, and then subsequently, if the PGB so chooses, submission to the full OASIS community to make it an OASIS standard.
Chet, I'm going to assume this would follow you, but perhaps Claudia and Solomon as well. Perhaps we need to work with Andreas like today or tomorrow to make sure that the PGB is sure to have all the material that they need. And we nag them a little bit that hey, if you show up on Wednesday without having read the thing, that's on you.
Yeah, so that actually brings up a question. And that is more of like a general question, but one that I have been pondering across multiple standards orgs. But Chet, your wisdom is always greatly appreciated because you have done a few more rodeos here. The point of people not coming quote unquote prepared, is it still okay to basically say what John just said is like tough luck? Which, for example, in W3C, there's no such thing, right? It's like one individual can hold up the whole show. What's the Oasis point of view on that? Both for its its CCs as well as the open projects.
Well, obviously the PGB has to be given sufficient time, right? I mean, can't drop it in their laps the day before and say, hey, read this overnight because you're going to vote on it tomorrow. So a week is, I would say, like the minimum acceptable window to provide to them. That said,
what's the average acceptable window?
It really depends on the complexity of the piece, right? I mean, if you're proposing, a 25-page profile spec, 7 days is more than enough time. If you're suggesting that they review the next iteration of, Universal Business Language, UBL, which is well over 1,000 pages at this point, that'd be a little unreasonable. So I think, it's really, you guys, I think, probably have the best feel for, what's a reasonable amount of time to expect somebody to go through this and, get familiar enough with it to vote.
Hey, Andreas, is there what is the page count on this? I've never actually run the pages, but it's not small.
Not small.
No, it's not small. I think it would probably be around 80 to 100 pages, something like that.
So we told everybody to
out.
start reviewing it a week
Last
ago
week.
at the previous PGB.
Right.
I certainly don't mind, letting people know that we're going to review it again to next Wednesday, but perhaps it would be the following Wednesday that we would just say, hey, you got to get really serious about it. Now that doesn't really answer Andreas's question, so I might have cut you off on that, Chad.
Right now, I'm going into part two of the answer. So the TSC, and I believe you guys did this at the last meeting, says here's a package. We're handing it off to you, PGB. We recommend this is ready for adoption. We would like you to consider it for adoption. It's then in the PGB's hands and their decision on timing and how to move forward. Now it's not like one person can throw a yellow flag and stop the play. Basically, the chair of the PGB can say, hey, we've got this. How should we proceed? Should we have a formal presentation on it and a discussion first? Do you all feel confident that you know it well enough? They may say, hey, let's have a presentation from the TSC to orient it to us, and then at the subsequent meeting, we'll plan to vote then. The approval also, they have the option of doing it as an electronic ballot, which might be the way, given the way the PGB meets, and if they don't reach quorum, that's going to be the option for moving it forward. So for a project specification draft, which is what they would be approving as a first step, that's just a full majority vote. So basically 50% plus one in the PGB. And I forget how big the EEA PGB is at this point. Maybe it's around a dozen. So 7 people would have to vote to get it approved. And two people vote against it. I don't know, 7 voted for it. That's it. But I think the key thing is that it will be in the hands of the project governing board to manage how they proceed from there. And Andres, did that answer the question?
It answered with regard to what the majority rule is. That's fine. It was also more of an etiquette thing.
Yeah.
In terms of because I personally have no issues like steamrolling. It's like get with the program, right? Knowing that people are busy and this stuff is not exactly your coffee table book,
right?
Would you recommend maybe just opening the ballot and then just leaving it open for a certain period of time that allows individuals to ask then questions or reach out? Because one of the things that I found is that presentations do not answer the pertinent questions, right? It's like they answer what is this about, right? Level question, right? At this point in time, if you're on the PGB board and you're like, what is this about? If you're at that level, then you're probably shouldn't be on the board. Therefore, it's more of a question of like, if you're on the board, you should be reading it and then come with specific questions.
Right.
If you feel that they deserve a larger, it's like audience to discuss, do so. But otherwise, it's like work with the either the TSC or the standards working group directly to resolve those questions, because they could be, big, or they could be, fairly technical and where pretty much no one else but you cares about it. So,
well, again, it's the PGB's choice how they want to run it. But I would say, hey, make that suggestion to them. Maybe suggest that an issue can be opened in the baseline standards repo specifically for Q&A, for members of the PGB, so that people can come there as they go through it and provide a window. We'll leave this, leave the, John can say, Dan can say, let's leave the ballot open for a week. That would give people, a direction of where to take a question, and answer those questions while the ballot was open, while they were considering it.
All right, I will move at the next Wednesday. I don't think we will have a new chair at that point, so I will move to have the ballot open and give the PGB another 2 weeks after that. That will give them a full month to be reviewing. We can put them on notice as early as today or tomorrow, Chet. But we'll give them until the following PGB meeting, at which point the sitting chair of that time, be it me or somebody else, and as I've said before, I'm very much encouraging other chairs. I will continue to do everything I do for the community, regardless of chairmanship. We can. I think it's appropriate for us to move on something that important with the new chair and the new TSC installed, at least, even though we've already in the previous TSC ratified. So I think that sounds right. I'll move to do that next Wednesday, Andreas.
Yeah, we can just simply open the ballot, and then in 2 weeks it's either approved or not. So
yeah, I think that's
simple.
a pretty reasonable amount of time. And we can, then we can go nag all the rest of the OASIS bodies that need to ratify in the next step.
Yeah, it's just a draft. It's just the standards draft. It's not even the project draft yet, right? So that's another round of voting, isn't it, chat?
Right, and that's a more that's a higher bar to pass. So yeah, so this one is pretty low key. And in fact, if it's a core project governing board meeting, somebody can make a motion, right then and there, call for objections to approving this as a project specification draft. No objections heard. Core at meeting, you've reached the bar. It could be that simple.
Yeah, I think we'd all feel better though if at least the majority of the people on the PGB have read it.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Thank you for that update. And now our outreach team that is led by Melanie. We'll get some updates from her. And also, I will say that our signups are up and running to join teams like the standards and outreach team. And our last outreach meeting on Monday, we had a whole bunch of new people join us. So please join those groups and we'll make sure to have you added. And over to you, Melanie.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great to see new faces, mostly people who participated in ETH Atlanta. So that's a good segue to ETH Atlanta. It happened last weekend. I think the hackathon was definitely a great success in socializing baseline with students and university students and just all kinds of students. And we saw that in the outreach committee, seeing fresh faces, fresh ideas. So that's exciting. In terms of other updates from ETH Atlanta, I didn't attend myself, but the overall message is great for the best part was definitely the hackathon. There's a baseline master deck that is being worked on by John Wolpert and Paul Brody from EY. There's been a bit of advancement on this front at ETH Atlanta, and I think it's just a continuing effort, so something to look forward to. And
for the record, Sonal's got the lead on that one. We're all supporting.
Sounds great. And then there is opportunity to issue quarterly press release with the support of the EEA that we haven't really leveraged yet. There's a continuous call during our go-to-market meeting to leverage this opportunity. So extending this to the General Assembly, if you want to join the go-to-market committee and have opportunities there to do some brand marketing and press releases. There's resources for us to leverage. I think that's it.
Thank you. And now Carol on sponsorship updates.
Okay, well, I don't have any new sponsors, but we are talking to all of the candidates for TSC. If you're not already employed by a sponsor, like Melanie is with Splunk and with John with Consensus, but I have been reaching out to the other companies to try to see if we can get your company to also support Baseline as a sponsor. The dues are really modest, and they were set that way so that in expectation that every company who's really involved, pays a fair share of the money. So if you haven't already heard from me and you're a candidate, you will.
But Carol, price is going up in 2 weeks to $1 million per sponsorship, right? So you want to get in the next 2 weeks.
Get in now, yeah.
Sorry.
We're also looking at some other sponsorship benefits, adding sponsorship benefits that could actually drive sales leads to the sponsors. And we're interested in offering those to companies, more companies as well. And we have the All Things Open. We're meeting with some people at All Things Open. Some companies we've been talking to a while. We finally will have a chance to have a face-to-face meeting. So I'm going to try to maximize John's time there.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about that, if you don't mind, Carol.
Sure.
First of all, I think that what's really crystallized is that Baseline is front and center on the wave of business. I think it's the next. If blockchain was hype wave. NFTs was a hype wave, or is a hype wave. I think the next wave of utility and maybe hype is collaboration or coordination under zero knowledge. We need to work together. But we can't share information. We can't just go fully naked. And so we need zero knowledge. Zero knowledge is really the thing. And given that, the deal flow opportunity is enormous on that, way more than it ever was on blockchain. Blockchain presented real issues for commercialization, for industrial production use, as we all know, 6 years of proof. Zero knowledge work, baselining, makes eminent sense. Everything from military applications all the way to NFTs, anything where you need to prove attributes about a thing that is shared without showing the actual data behind that. And so there's just starting to get really good deal flow, and companies from everywhere from automotive industry to medical saying we really need that. And so now the opportunity for being a sponsor is we will start, there's real deal flow to be sharing, but why would I share it with companies that aren't sponsors? Right. So if somebody's calling me about this, or any of us here who are notable in the community, let's make sure that the sponsors get the deal flow.
Also, one other thing I would like to add here, there's a very unique opportunity for companies that are focused on the last mile, so to speak, of applications and implementations. Why am I saying this? Because I'm seeing this right now in the layer 2 scalability ecosystem. Those solutions, those projects that make it easy for others to adopt them because they're utilizing existing tool chains, existing knowledge base, will get ahead. And it's like, because no one, and I mean no one, cares what happens under the hood. No one cares. Right? If people cared, they would have run away screaming a long time ago.
Well, like
right?
13 people.
13 people in the world pretty much care. That's about it. Because they just assume it works, and if it doesn't work, I'll sue you. That's the MO. That's the mindset. That's the mind frame. That's how it works. So
or I'll use an alternative. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Or I use an alternative. It's like don't give me the details. I don't care. Right. So the ease of use is absolutely critical, and there's a huge opportunity there because it's like you literally have multi-billion-dollar companies saying, oh, transport layer security is enough for my APIs. 70% of all breaches happen because of misconfigured web services, APIs. And that's the last mile. Focus on that. You will do a killer business, guaranteed, especially with the synchronizing business state across trust boundaries. Huge thing. Zero trust framework. U.S.
So
government
the waves are APIs,
is talking.
Then blockchain, then NFTs, then
zero trust,
zero knowledge, then quantum computing. There you go. Those are the next waves.
You want to do business with the U.S. government? Zero trust framework, a must.
All right. I think we can rest on that. Thank you, Carol. That's our ad for sponsorship.
A very good ad. Thank you. You're both great spokespeople.
Be a sponsor. I don't like you anymore. Yeah.
All right. John, if you would like to provide some updates on grants.
Well, after that, I got to get serious. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, grants. And Sonal, you might need to remind me of the exact number. We have some extra grant money to spend before the end of the year. And I'd like to propose that ASAP, someone, either Jack, oh gosh, Jack G's last name is dropping out of my head. Gilchrist. Oh, Jack Gilchrist. I'm so sorry. I say publicly, I apologize for that. Jack Gilchrist and team who were at the hackathon building the Battleship game. Whether it's Jack's team or somebody else that picks up the work from there, I think it's quite appropriate that we allocate some grant money to our Hello World. I mean, it's no question that that ought to be the Hello World. It ought to be on our core repo, not in any other company's repo, and it ought to be pure and that you can implement it without any product integration, right? You just purely integrate it, NPM, pull it and do it and make it work. So that I think would be a great project. I think, so how much again?
So we have, we definitely have $9,130 remaining and up to 20K to move around based on the other statuses of projects that we're still waiting to hear back from.
Okay, so I guess by the next time or probably well before, like in the next, probably by the next PGP meeting, we'll lock that number down further. But yeah, we have at least $6,000 to $9,000, $6,000 to $9,000 to allocate for that. So I'd like to put out a general call for bids on that, and so aggressively lock in a person. So Sonal, I think we're going to need to solicit folks to put in a new issue onto the grants repo, which is just our normal. I don't think I have a caption card for that, but I'll put that up in a second. If you go to the EA Oasis /baseline standard, which is up now, you just replace standard with grants after the dash, and you'll be there. And then you can enter a bid for that project, and I think we should pay for it. Do we have any disagreement on that from the TSC? I think we have a TSC quorum here on the call, so. All right, so let's go forward with that, and then we can approve that really quickly with an electronic vote. Beyond that, I think we're good. Andreas, excuse me, the lion's share of projects of project funding still outstanding come down to the identity projects, which are hugely important, but not well understood generally. That is, we know that it's important. We've all voted on it. We're good with it. But it's probably those are probably the least well understood, generally well understood projects. You want to report quickly on the status on them and how we're doing?
Yeah. So actually, in fact, identity is generally the least understood subject by people. Because
especially in the context of baselining.
No, just
I
identity.
Understand why we need DIDs, but why?
No, but it's like even more generally speaking, it's like identity means very different things for different people. They just have a very different definition because everybody defines it for themselves. It's just like it's like liberty, right? It's like you ask two different people, they'll give you two different answers. They have nothing to do with the actual Oxford dictionary definition. That's actually a problem, right? So that's why having these two projects is really important, because we're now normalizing what identity means within the baseline context, and we're normalizing it to a well-defined standard. Those are the key things. So normalizing within the baseline protocol, normalizing to a well-known standard. Those are the two key things, and that's why these two problems. Those
are on track.
And they are on track to deliver a highly scalable, standards compliant method to identify entities and to assign credentials to them. So that's which is again based on a standard, which is critically important for enterprise adoption. Without a standard in a standard, it's not going to happen.
Great. I've put up the grants issues link in chat, and I'll do that on stream as well.
Yeah, everybody can track the progress of those grants publicly in the issues folder there. There issues number 45 and number 46 in the grants GitHub repo or the monthly tracking issues for that. Everybody can see what the projects are reporting back and what their issues are, if any.
Yeah, I think that's all. I think the Bishwashri Day completed her Excel project, and I see that is still not merged to main. So we need to see that. And then I'd like to say, and I think I've got agreement with the Provide team and other folks who have been supporting that Excel project. That is a huge, huge deal to have the Excel integration. Because if you think about it, if you want to start to like work out in the gym on baselining, what do you want? You're going to want to like baseline a couple of Excel spreadsheets, right? Maybe baseline an Excel spreadsheet with SAP. But just to get it going quickly, what are you going to do? You're going to throw up a couple of Excel spreadsheets. That's one fast way to do it, or an Excel spreadsheet. And then we really need to revive the Google Sheets connector as well, which is already done, but I think is deprecated on the old BRI. So that's another project we could probably fund a grant on. Yeah, I mean, right. So that Excel, we want to make a big deal out of that. So Melanie and team on the outreach side, I think that one deserves press release, or at least a blog release, maybe some article writing, maybe a feature. Let's make a big hullabaloo about it, and let's do it. Let's give ourselves the time to do it right. So maybe early November, we push that out and say, hey, Excel.
I'm going to do something John normally does, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Samrat, but you write a lot of wonderful articles in trade journals, and that could be a great subject for one of those trade journals, right? I don't know if you're in the audio, but just planting that seed, brother.
Thank you.
Great idea.
Tony.
Samrat's a great writer. I rest on that. So I'm done.
Okay. And my last official update is about the Core Devs kickoff that happened on Monday. We had great success, if I do say so myself. We had about 23 new attendees in the call. Well, 23 total, who will serve as our Core Devs team, given that they want to stay committed. And we had people who came from all different backgrounds, companies, industries, who are interested in helping drive Baseline going forward. So looking forward to working with all of the great Core Devs who are joining the community.
Let's hear it for the new Core Devs.
Core Devs rock.
Yeah, super exciting. So we'll be staying in close touch with the Core Devs. We'll be hosting some learning sessions in the next Core Devs meetings going forward to make sure everybody's comfortable with the code base, the architecture, and pretty much anybody can join. So please feel free to still sign up, and we'll make sure you're welcomed and acclimated to the group. And with that, I'll say one more time that our signups are open, and I'm tracking them and making sure everybody's added to meetings going forward. So if you weren't sure how to join the Baseline community before, it's outlined now, and I will make sure to get you in. So please sign up and start helping us Baseline.
Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, tell your family. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, Sonal, one thing though, and I think it might be worth considering moving the Core Devs meeting to earlier in the day to be more inclusive, because it is seriously late for for Asia Pac, if you do a 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Call,
That's 10 a.m.
Pacific
Eastern.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
9 and 10 a.m. That is a 6 p.m., 7 p.m. India time. That is a 9, 10 p.m. Hong Kong time, which is borderline, right?
Yeah.
It's like so
Sort of the global standard for if you're going to do one meeting inclusive, somewhere between 9 and noon on a given day. That's sort of what we've been following.
Eastern would be my recommendation to do that, because for example, a 9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern is just not in my cards. It's like I can't, even if I wanted to, I can't participate. So at 6 a.m. I can, because typically I'm, no one dares to schedule a call at 6 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you
So
for that.
4 a.m.
feedback.
Pacific, that's what I heard. 4 a.m.
No, 4 a.m. Pacific. I told the client, it's like, I will do 4 a.m., but it's $1,000 an hour.
Nice. All right, awesome. And we have some time left in the show, so we'll open up the floor to any other topics.
I don't know if this was said earlier, but congratulations, Samrat, on a great effort with NASSCOM and where the India baseline show is going. I'm hearing about it through alternative channels, and it's really a testament to the work you're putting in. So just a moment of gratitude for that.
Thanks, Nick. Having a good time with all of you, actually. It's not me alone. Everybody's doing it together. Cheers.
There's an RFI out. There's a government thing that is calling for baselining. If I don't feel at liberty to call it out on a public channel, although it is a public RFI. But just out of respect to the organization that's doing it, if there are solutions providers out there in the community that are on this call, that want to be sure that they have a chance to bid on that, I think the window's closing. So it's a pretty big deal.
So Samrat, is there any specific interest from Indian government bodies, for baselining, similar to some of the interest that's been expressed here in the United States?
Anand, great question. So while I had some chat with officials, but that was more of personal interest they expressed in understanding what's going on. And that was fairly early in my journey in the Indian chapter as well. So, but yeah, I don't see any project as such coming out yet.
Do you think that's part of the? I suppose part of the reason is just the lack of understanding and knowledge of the potential of blockchain in general and of baselining more specifically, right? So I guess a big part of this whole initiative is going to be just the educational part, right? It's easier to understand, make it easier to understand for decision makers, especially in governments.
Anant, I might argue that the problem is uneducating people, uneducating the people about blockchain. We've in the past we've had to overcome that. People are like, "Oh, I love this baseline. I don't want blockchain, but I love this baseline thing." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just don't use the word blockchain much anymore because I don't want to get them into that mental model. Of course, there's blockchain involved, but the minute we say it, certainly if you do it early in the conversation or if you market it as a blockchain solution, then they're immediate, and then you talk to them about public blockchain, They're into the, oh, I don't want to put my data on a public blockchain. I'm like, of course you don't. That's the point. But at that point, they're locked in, and you know how hard it is to change people's mental models. So just don't sign up for that problem. Say, hey, look, this is about collaboration under zero knowledge, coordination under zero knowledge, where you don't want your partners to know everything about you, but you need to prove things that you have in common. Did I say blockchain there? No.
Leveraging public infrastructure to keep your costs down.
And then, yes. And then when they're really into that, you say, oh, by the way, public good infrastructure that keeps the cost down. It's the internet, it's the internet, stupid, as it were. And I think that's the way to sell it. It's not about, and at that point, technically speaking, you could put a private blockchain, or you could even put it in Arduino in your closet up as the common frame of reference state machine. It's just that I would laugh at you for that. But that way you don't have to worry about that thing. I mean, yeah, I've done 2-hour sessions with companies, and they come back a week later and say, oh, we loved it. We loved it. But here's the problem. We really don't want to put our data on a public blockchain. I'm like, were you in the room? Right. So yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, I can attest to that. That's the first thing that when you say putting data on a blockchain, they just think it's there for everyone to see. Right. So.
Yeah. But Anant, I think to answer your specific question on the understanding, I think blockchain understanding is phenomenal. Indian government, they've done some massive, they've taken some massive steps on adoption of blockchain in various things. In fact, the largest board in India is issuing degrees already using blockchain. They've gone public with that announcement, and there are lots more which is in the works. Baselining, of course, will need a lot of understanding, evangelism. I've been doing these Saturday shows, and the format has been that I invite somebody to talk about a particular industry and or use cases and sort of deep dive or talk in general. So those have been, that's sort of my attempt to educate people or just send them links to these shows and to say that, oh, on this one we spoke about sustainability, in another one we spoke about supply chain or telecom. So let's see how it goes
on the show. He's got a pretty cool project management thing going.
Yeah.
I would disagree with you that there's a phenomenal that there's a high understanding of blockchain or of public blockchain in general, right? It just is not. It's like, and why is that? Because if someone is really well educated on that, you ask them what are the 4 main characteristics of a blockchain, and they don't start with a provable time linearization, aka stamping service, then they don't understand it. It's that simple.
Yeah, there's high awareness, low understanding, and that's what
there's high awareness, low understanding. That's what we're fighting against, right? If there's a very large transnational organization that I had to convince to not do performance testing of a blockchain because it's irrelevant for the use case they were using, because they were trying to use it as a shared database. I'm like, well, you just use MongoDB or use Postgres, whatever, you have the same thing. It's like, why? It's like the uneducation piece that John's talking about. It's like, do you know how long it took for the world to agree that the world's not flat?
Well, it's not flat. What?
Yeah, exactly. But that is what we're fighting against. It's like
I'm calling J.R.R. Tolkien right now because I saw those maps. They look flat. That looks flat.
It looks flat, right? It's like oh, blockchain looks like no, that's what it looks like, right? It's like it is the flat Earth problem that we're fighting against.
For that, yeah, very well put. But Anant, I would invite you to one of my shows.
Yeah, thanks, Samrat. I'll
to talk about the flat Earth.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Hey, by the way, that art behind Anant is his art and is an NFT, as I understand it, right?
Yeah, it is kind of. It refers to what we are doing, right? Thank you.
Cool.
It refers to the S-curve, the project S-curve. We are building a project governance platform, and that's there's a lot of symbology behind it, which I'll talk about one day. Thank you.
Where is that listed, by the way?
I haven't listed it yet. I mean,
Okay, cool.
it's not complete yet, and that's one of the things I was talking to you about. Is we could probably do a rollout as part of the tree trunk thing, because this is obviously not our core thing, right? It's just something that I did on the side. So let's play with it, maybe along with tree trunk and see where it goes. And by the way, John, Tolkien, right? He drew those graphs, when he was teaching at my college in Oxford, Pembroke College. So that's kind of where he was the professor of Anglo-Saxon, right? So he was writing his books on the side, drawing his maps and all that. We still have a lot of the originals in the Bodleian library there.
I'm reading The Hobbit to my 8-year-old right now. Actually, she's reading it. So I think we're at the end. Sonal, anything left?
No, that's all. Thank you all for joining and providing updates. Thank you to those in the community who joined the call as well. And we'll have our next General Assembly in a month from now, but we will have our normal baseline show next Wednesday. And last call for those who are eligible voters. Claudia sent out the emails, so make sure you review that and forward the responses as she mentioned, so your votes stay anonymous. But get your votes in and join the community, and see you all next time.
Everyone,
Thank
please,
you.
let's have a cheer for Sonal's work. If it weren't for Sonal's work between the hackathon and now, we would have maybe half or less of the registered voters that we have. She rocked the vote, and we're all very grateful to your work, for your work. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sonal.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, everybody, it's good to see you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheerio.
Bye.
So